Hi, third graders. Welcome to Reading This Week. We are going to be studying how to recount stories. In particular, in third grade, we will look at myths, fables, and folktales. This week, we will be studying a fable that I bet you already know a lot about, and that is The Three Little Pigs. Now, there are a lot of versions of The Three Little Pigs told in numerous different ways. I'm going to be reading you this version retold by James Marshall. While we're reading this today, we'll be working on making predictions. Readers can predict before they even start reading the text and while they are reading the text. I usually start my reading anytime I pick up a book by reading the title and thinking to myself, what do I know about the title, the picture on the front? What schema do I already have? What clues are in the title and the illustration that can help me to predict what is going to happen in the story? Now, in this case, you are probably like me, and we have lots of schema or background knowledge about this fable. And you're already using that to make predictions about what might happen in this story. Fantastic work. We'll be practicing making predictions and recording them during our reading today. Midway through, I will stop and I will ask you also to pause your video and to make 3 predictions based on your schema or your background knowledge and using the text clues and record those in the paper that I included in your supply pickup in your reading journal. Now, as a reminder, here it comes. A prediction is a type of inference. This kind of inference is one that can be confirmed or denied. So you can simply read further into the text and find out, did your prediction actually happen? Can you confirm it using the text? Or did it not happen and your prediction was denied? When we think about making predictions, we use the same tools that we use when we make an inference. We use our schema or background knowledge. That's all of those files stored away in your brain with memories, things you know a lot about, things you've learned about. We pull out that information and we put it together with clues that we find when we're reading a text. Some of those clues are right there for us to find, and some of those clues we have to look a little deeper into how the text is structured, what the author is showing us in the illustrations. Today, we're going to practice that. We're going to practice taking what we know, putting it together with clues in our text to come up with some great predictions while we're reading The Three Little Pigs. Come on and join me in our reading adventure today. So let's start. The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, notice it starts with once upon a time. Keep track of that kind of language as we look more closely at fables. I'll start again. Once upon a time, an old sow sent her 3 little pigs out into the world to seek their fortune. Now be sure to write, she said, and remember that I love you. The first little pig met a man with a load of straw. I know, said the little pig. I'll buy your straw and build a house. That's not a good idea, said the man. Now, even before reading this, I know that you have schema, most likely from being exposed to past versions of The Three Little Pigs, and you know you can predict what's going to happen next. Mind your own business, thank you, said the little pig. and he bought the straw and set about building a house. It took no time at all. Of course, your prediction was most likely confirmed. And because you have read previous versions or been told previous versions of the Three Little Pigs, you know that the fact that he is buying straw isn't his only problem. On the next page, when we are introduced to the antagonist of this story, whom I'm sure you know who it is, you will be able to again confirm another prediction that you know because you're pulling that schema, things you already know about this fable, out of your stored away files. Okay. Very soon, a lean and hungry wolf happened by. Pig was just about his favorite food in the world, so he knocked on the door and said, little pig, let me come in." To which the little pig replied, "No, no, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." This annoyed the wolf to no end, and he said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." "Go right ahead," said the little pig. So the wolf huffed and he puffed and he blew the house in, and he gobbled up the little pig. The second little pig met a man with a load of sticks. "I've got it," said the little pig. "I'll buy those sticks and build a house." "I'd think twice about that," said the man. "Oh, pooh," said the little pig. "What would you know?" And he bought the sticks and went to work building a house. "Very pretty," he said. No sooner had the little pig settled into his pretty house than the wolf happened by. He was still hungry, and he said, little pig, let me come in." To which the little pig replied, "No, no, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." I guess that's the wrong pig voice. It would have been, "No, no, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." The wolf didn't care for that at all, and he said, "I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." "Ha, ha, ha," said the little pig. So the wolf huffed and he puffed and he blew the house in, and he gobbled up the little pig. Now the third little pig met a man with a load of bricks. "Those bricks will make a fine, sturdy house," said the man. "Capital idea, my good fellow," said the little pig. So he bought the bricks and set about building a house. It took him quite a bit of time, but it was well worth it. "Nice and solid," said the little pig, "nice and solid." But no sooner had the little pig moved in than he noticed the wolf loitering about. And the wolf, who was still hungry, said, little pig, let me come in." To which the little pig replied, "No, no, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." By the way, readers, I also make predictions and inferences about words like loitering. When I don't know words and I have a text like this text, I take the time to circle those words and to make sure that I do some thinking about them while I'm on that page in context of the sentence. And so that word loitering, the little pig moved in, then he noticed the wolf loitering about. Well, the way that the word is used, it is a verb. It's something that the wolf is doing because he noticed the wolf doing this action. So when I look at the wolf, I see him standing out there. So I'm going to infer that loitering, by using the context of the sentence and the part of the sentence itself and the picture as well, I'm going to infer that this means that the wolf is standing there. And then I can kind of, check my inference by reading it again and making sure it makes sense. But no sooner had the little pig moved in than he noticed the wolf standing about. Okay, so he's kind of standing about outside of the house. So loitering means maybe he's standing in that space where he shouldn't be. I bet you know what he's going to try to do. You're making predictions already. Well, the wolf had heard that before, and he said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." "Oh, don't do that," said the little pig. But the wolf huffed and he puffed and he huffed and he puffed until he was quite blue in the face. The house stood firm. "I'll try another approach," muttered the wolf, and he put on his most dazzling smile. "Little pig, I was only teasing," he said. "By the way, I hear tell that Farmer Jones has the most scrumptious turnips. Shall we go pick a few?" "Oh, I'm much too busy now," said the little pig. "What about tomorrow morning?" "Excellent," said the wolf. "I'll come for you at 6." The next morning, the little pig got up at 5, hurried off to Farmer Jones' turnip field, picked a basket full of scrumptious turnips, and dashed back home. When the wolf arrived at 6, the turnips were already boiling in the pot. "Sorry, I couldn't wait," said the little pig. The wolf tried not to show his displeasure. "No harm done," he said. "By the way, there is a lovely apple tree down in Merry Meadow. Shall we go help ourselves to a few apples?" "I must cook my turnips," said the little pig. "Let's meet there tomorrow." "Splendid," said the wolf. "Shall we stay at 5?" Okay, I'm going to stop reading the story for just one moment so that we can practice making predictions together. You will need to gather these supplies to do your work alongside of me. You will want to find the composition notebook that you plan to dedicate towards reading for your reading journal. You will want to find the Story Predictions graphic organizer that was in the purple supply folder that you picked up on Friday, and you will want to get a pencil. Pause this video until you gather those supplies and then meet me back here. Okay, we're going to start making predictions by putting our title and the author's name on our graphic organizer. And we will do this throughout the year because I want us to always be able to come back to the title and the author as a point of reference for all of our learning. Now, it does say in the directions that based on the title, illustrations, and first paragraph in the story, write 3 predictions that you think might happen in the rest of the story. I had us this time read a little bit further into the story. It wasn't that we weren't making predictions before we started and within that first paragraph. It's that I knew that this fable was one you were probably already familiar with. So, yes, I knew you were making predictions, but I wanted to wait until it got to a point in the story where there was a little bit of a twist so that we could, yes, still use our schema and what we know, but we were also really going to need to work to use text clues to make a prediction. So we are going a little bit further into the story. In future texts, we will make our predictions based more closely to these directions based on using the title, illustrations, and first paragraph. But let's practice one together, and then I'll read a little bit further, and then you're going to finish the last 2 on your own before I finish the story. So, prediction 1, I stopped right here because my brain started to really work on making some predictions based on what was happening in the text. Now, I think you probably noticed, as I did, that there was something that happened that was different than the version I remember in previous fables of the 3 little pigs. And that is that the wolf invited the pig to go get turnips, and the pig went early and then got the turnips. And then a second event happened where I then stopped, where the pig was invited by the wolf to get apples. And that's where I paused. Now, I'm going to make a prediction based on what I know about the three little pigs and how the story is structured, some clues I'm seeing in the structure for what I think might happen. See, based on this last event, the pig outsmarted the wolf and went and got those turnips early. So I'm going to predict that the pig is going to outsmart. The pig will outsmart the wolf again. Will outsmart, and you can record this while I am, the wolf again. He will get apples at, I'm just going to say, it says 5 o'clock. I'm going to say that he shows up at 4 because at 4 o'clock, because he was invited to get turnips at 6, but he showed up at 5. So what I know about the three little pigs, what I have in my schema is that there are these repeated events. And I'm seeing the author is starting to set that up again in the three little pigs. So I'm going to guess that this event will repeat as it did the last, and the pig will outsmart the wolf again and get his apples before the wolf can get there. Okay, if you haven't finished writing this, you can pause right now and write this, because I'm going to keep reading and I'm going to see if I am correct. Here we go. So here we are. I'll reread a teeny bit. "No harm done," he said. "By the way, there is a lovely apple tree down in Merry Meadow. Shall we go help ourselves to a few apples?" "I must cook my turnips," said the little pig. "Let's meet there tomorrow morning." "Splendid," said the wolf. "Shall we say at 5? The next morning, the little pig was up at 4 and went off for the apples. It took longer than he'd expected to reach Merry Meadow. And while busy gathering apples in the highest tree, he saw the wolf approaching. "Do try one of these," he called down, throwing an apple as far as he could. When the wolf chased after the apple, the little pig shimmied down the tree and made it safely home. Aha! Okay. Now I'll fill in the rest of my graphic organizer for my first prediction. It says, did your predictions happen in the story? Why or why not? Well, my prediction sort of happened, but sort of didn't. So I'm going to say part of my prediction happened. The wolf went early. Or I'm sorry, not the wolf, the pig went early. But he actually lost track of time and he had to trick the wolf a different way. Trick the wolf differently because he threw that apple. Okay, I like it. I'm going to continue. Now you can pause here and finish writing your explanation as to whether the prediction happened or not. I'm going to continue reading, and then I'm going to ask you to pause and see if your mind is doing the work of making a prediction. Make that prediction, and then unpause, continue reading, and see if your story, if your prediction happened or not in the story. And we'll do that 2 more times. Okay. The next day, the wolf came again. Really, he was quite put out. There's a fair today on Hog Hill, he said. Would you care to go? Why don't we meet there, said the little pig. Would 3 o'clock suit you? Colossal, said the wolf. 3 it is. Just to make sure, he would be there at 2. And I hope you know who he is. Now he, it's in this italicized print. He, they're talking about the wolf. So the wolf, the wolf is saying he'll be there at 2. Pause your video. It's super important that you don't cheat yourself. Make a prediction using clues from this text and thinking about what you know about the text structure of the 3 little pigs. Okay, nice job. Let's see if your prediction is correct. At 1 in the afternoon, the little pig went to the fair and had a fine time. So fine that he lost track of the hour. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, he saw the wolf coming up the hill. Without a minute to spare, the little pig jumped inside an empty butter churn and rolled down the hill toward the wolf. Well, the wolf was so scared, he ran all the way home. Okay, let's stop there. You've made prediction 2. Let's make prediction 3. Based on the clues in the story, the text, and what you know, your schema, what is going to happen? Pause this video and write it in your graphic organizer. Okay, let's see if you're right. That evening, the wolf went to the little pig's house and told him how frightened he'd been by a great round thing that came down the hill. Frightened you, did I? Said the little pig. That great round thing was a butter churn, and I was inside. This was simply too much for the wolf to stand. I've been nice long enough, he cried. I'm going to eat you up right now. And he climbed onto the roof. When the little pig saw this, he put a big iron pot in the fireplace and quickly stoked the fire. Here I come, cried the wolf. Dinner time. Now, readers, I bet you're making a prediction right now. You can say that again, said the little pig, and he cooked the mean old wolf and gobbled him up. Did the story end as you predicted? I bet it did. Now we have one last thing to do today, readers, before we are finished. You will want to reread your prediction 2 and 3 and ask yourself, were the predictions you made confirmed or denied? Then fill in the section on the graphic organizer with the question, did your predictions happen in the story? Why or why not? When you're finished filling in your graphic organizer, you will want to glue it into the first page of your reading journal. Fantastic work today. Happy reading.